For Minister, the nation is waiting to hear from you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, DG. Let me also thank the program director, acknowledge my colleague, the Deputy Minister, acknowledge the Premier of Gauteng. Thank you very much, Tete Makura. All MECs present, my colleagues for the past 5 years, heads of departments, leaders of teacher unions that are here, leadership of the governing bodies that have been working with us in the past 5 years. I see colleagues from Parliament, members of the portfolio, MPs and MPLs present. We have lots of partners that are here that have been really assisting us in the past 5 years in this journey. But most important, the cream of the country. Good evening. And more important, proudly so, acknowledge the parents of the learners and the caregivers. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this opportunity. So today, as we gather to announce the 2018 National Senior Certificate Exam results, we are announcing these results on the year in which South Africa will be celebrating 25 years of political freedom and democracy. These results are one of the most important barometers that we use to evaluate progress that we're making as government in improving access, redress, equity, inclusivity and efficiency, and more important, quality of teaching and learning outcomes. And as government, we've done this strategically by implementing national, continental, and international commitments that we have as a country, our UNESCO commitments on sustainable development goals, our national development plan, our medium-term strategy, our African Union continental education strategy, the NDP that we have articulated in our plans. And if we remember that at the dawn of democracy in 1994, the topmost priority of this government was to establish a single, unified, and a democratic system of education based on human rights. And we have, as this government, put in place transformative legislation and policy frameworks to ensure that indeed radical reforms envisaged by government are realized. And the results of the government's reforms in the development of over the past 25 years can be seen in the educational outcomes, which have improved virtually in all measures. Without doubt, we can confidently say this country has improved access to education. It has put in place measures to address redress, to ensure that there's equity, there's inclusivity, there's improved efficiency, and on an ongoing basis, we strive for quality of our basic education. And unfortunately, because of time, we're not able to elaborate on all the points that have been raised here, and as a result, we have put in our website a very comprehensive version of this speech, and it can be found in our website. So, fellow South Africans, I think we should always remember at all times that we have to further improve the outputs of the schooling system, and to do that, we have to improve the fundamental quality of learning and teaching well before grade 12. Research confirms that early years of learning to read, write, and compute translate into positive results and outcomes later in the schooling years. And as government, we will be sharing more information with the nation on the work underway for the phased-in implementation of an integrated early childhood development under basic education. We've been working very hard with social development, with health and treasury, to make sure that we can phase in that decision to implement an integrated early childhood education even earlier than grade R. We'll be also giving more information on the phasing in of a comprehensive information communication technology strategy. As a sector, we've been piloting. There are provinces which have succeeded to do a wall-to-wall rollout of ICTs, but through the presidency, we'll be leading a national program whereby finally in a phased process, we will be able to have a wall-to-wall program around the rolling out of ICTs with every child getting their own device in school, and that will be phasing in from this year. For this year, we will start off with no-fee schools in your rural and farm areas, and also focusing on special schools. Again, a great deal is happening to improve the early grade literacy and numeracy of our children. We had led and initiated as a sector the Read to Lead campaign, which has been mobilizing learners, teachers, and communities around the importance of reading. The primary school reading improvement program has been expanding in numbers of schools, and that is supporting with quality learning materials designed to enrich classroom learning experience in the early grades. The early reading grade study has led to the development of a reading improvement plan with clear steps to improve and support to teachers based on the evidence of what works. With our partner, the National Education Collaboration Trust, we have set up a national reading coalition, and we'll be launching this coalition this year, and again, we'll give you more details. Again, at a basic education level, the modernization of classroom has become a phenomenon of the global society. And in response as a country, or in response to the demands of the 21st century, as DBE, in partnership with UNICEF, with the Lego Foundation, and the Association of Development of Education in Africa, will be implementing an initiative that focuses on the role of play-based learning and improving the quality of early grade learning under the auspice of power of play. We will be hosting an international play conference in Pretoria in February between the 25th and the 27th. And amongst the key objectives of this conference are the facilitation of an understanding and the commitment of policymakers and influencers on the importance of play-based learning in preparing our young people for the opportunities of the 21st century and the achievement of sustainable development of the national and global level. Fellow South Africans, as we report on our grade 12 results, it is important to always link these to earlier reports that we always share with you, with the nation, your teams, which is your trends in mathematics, your SACMEC, which is an assessment of SADC and Eastern African countries, and also PILS, which are also trends in reading. Because at the heart of development in the schooling sector, the most obvious and most important is what learners learn. If you remember, during the announcement of the 2017 results, I did outline the improvements in the performance of South African learners through varying degrees as reported by the 3 regional and international assessments. And we can confidently say as a country that the basic education system of the country has entered its age of hope. And what is critical is to remind ourselves that every child must be viewed as a national asset and no child should be left behind. Now turning to what we are here about. It was a commercial one. And just make sure that now that I have your attention, I can go then to the business of the day. So as we turn to the grade 12 results, the pass rate is more of one of the many indicators which we use to track progress in this country. So the government's medium-term strategic framework, which is based on the NDP, emphasizes the aim of getting, I must be careful that I don't mix my papers, otherwise I'll repeat the things I've said. The aim is to obtain the National Senior Certificate, which is equivalent qualification either from school or a TVET college. It does emphasize the attainment of a national certificate, which allows either for bachelor degrees obtaining a mark of at least 50%. I don't know the 30% that we pass at 30, but we're saying the target, it's a bachelor's degree, which says our learners must pass at 50 and above. But more exciting, I saw Professor Volmik. We're very happy to hear when Umalusi, the authority and the arbiter of standardization, did declare 2018 national senior examinations as fair, valid, and credible. And for that, we are very grateful. And this class of 2018 is a fifth cohort which has been exposed to CAP's curriculum. It has recorded the fourth highest enrollment of full-time candidates and part-time candidates. As we reported earlier, 2018 we registered more than 800,800 learners to sit for exams, of which more than 625,000 were full-time learners, and approximately 176,000 were part-time candidates. And of these, some of them, almost 512 of them, presented all 7 subjects. In terms of scope and size, we always compare these exams to your national elections. That's how big our national exams are. At least there are only 2 ballots. We had to set 147 question papers. We had to print 8 million question papers. We went through 7.6 million scripts, and we produced and delivered them to about 7,000 education centers with more than 65,000 invigilators, 41,000 markers at 141 marking centers. So I'm not exaggerating that we're close to your national elections. But also what is exciting about 2018, this is the first group where as a country we're able to present 12 new subjects. We presented the South African Sign Language, which is South African Sign Language, linked to international sign languages, and we're very proud that we've managed to do it. And there are learners who for the first time wrote South African Sign Language. We also for the first time presented learners for civil technologies, mechanical technologies, and electrical technologies, each with 3 subjects as well as technical maths and technical science. And for this, I again have to thank most sincerely our partners in this field of technology. We had experts who for the past 5 years have been working with us to reach this point, have been helping us with the curriculum, but also helping us with teacher training and ensuring that we can produce the high quality exams which would have been confirmed and attested to by Umalusi. So we're very grateful for that this year. And the criteria for learner progression also, because that's the other story of mine in DM, that when we introduced in 2015, and I'm looking at MEC Ted, says Minister, is it pass one, pass all? We clarify that it's not, and we agree that it's not. South African public will recall the progression policy. We encourage and work with our provinces to condone and progress over 8 learners who had repeated grade 11 more than once. And we knew why we were saying that, but because we have evidence which proved to us that your overage learners, if they repeat more than once, they leave school. So we've agreed that let's implement our policy to the end and support struggling learners and put all efforts to make sure that they don't drop out of the system. So this year we really had more of those progress learners, and more of them as part-time learners sitting this year. And the support provided by my colleagues to the progress learners by province is very important, particularly from learners who come from poorer communities. And I'm grateful to colleagues that they went out of their way to provide extra support to progress learners without any additional budget. Consequently, in 2018, we saw the largest number of progress learners since the policy was promulgated in 2015. And this is a step in the right direction, we believe, in the context of the NDP, which enjoins us to mediate high dropout and repetition rates in the basic education system. The NDP demands us to maintain a retention of 90% and allow for an increase in the number of learners entering vocational and occupational pathways. We've also put in place the Second Chance Matric program. The learner progression policy is in place to make sure that indeed we can align ourselves to the demands of the NDP. We have introduced this incremental introduction of 3 model stream to offer children with more opportunities, and we also have provided our learners with multi-examination opportunities as means towards an end to address the NDP directive. And I want to take this opportunity to thank provinces that invested a lot of effort in supporting progressed and struggling learners. Gauteng, for instance, Premier, of your progressed learners, 70.3% made it. In the Free State, 65.2% of progressed learners made it. In Mpumalanga, 64.7%. In KZN, 63.4%. In Northwest, 56.9% of them. In the Eastern Cape, the pass rate of progressed learners was 56.5%. In Northern Cape, with all the challenges and the difficulties of your protest, they went to 40.2%, and the Western Cape has a progressed learner pass of 33%. And we have to say, Western Cape is leading in terms, not only in terms of your throughput rate, hence they have lesser learners at your senior phase, but we'll still encourage all the provinces to support those learners that have been progressed to get extra help, because failing them or using punitive system for deficits has proven not to work. But extra support is proving to work. And we are convinced that had the provinces not provided the packages of support and interventions which they did, which they provided to progress learners, some of our young people could have fallen through the cracks of the system. And it is for this reason that we continue to encourage provinces to support struggling learners, not only at matric level, but throughout the system. And this will definitely improve the throughput rate and the retentions in the system, especially at the senior and the FET phase, where we experience high failure rate and high dropout rates. We strongly believe that an inclusive education system makes an immense contribution to an inclusive economy and an inclusive society. And we have in the past few years included learners with special education needs in our tracking process. And I'm happy to announce that this year we had 3,856 learners with special needs, and their pass rate for this year has increased with 39.9%. Almost 3,051 of them have passed, with 1,669 getting bachelor's, 861 getting higher diplomas. But we also are proud to announce that from our observations that we are also beginning to see the benefits of what is called the social package. So 2018 results, we're tracking also poor ranking schools from quintile 1 to 3 and focus mainly on 1 to 3 schools and see how they are performing. And again, we can say it's worth mentioning that the poor funding of schools the provision of nutritious meals on a daily basis, the provision of scholar transport to deserving learners on a daily basis. These interventions, which are called the social wage by the State South Africa, have definitely improved access, retention, and simultaneously improve equity, efficiency, and quality immeasurably. During the break, when we met the young students, I interacted also with a learner from the province. The mother introduced herself. She's a street hawker, and her child is amongst these top learners. So it does show that indeed the social wage that government has put in place is helping us with the equity desires. The NDP again recognizes that districts are a crucial interface of the basic education system. And the continued growth in the performance of districts, we monitor it closely because they are that part of the system which is very close to our schools. And we can say this is only one province, one district performed below 60%. All our provinces performed above 60%. 43% of them performed above 80%. I'll just go through the top 10 districts for this year. The leading province district in the country is Fezile Dabi in the Free State at 92.3. It's broken the ceilings at 92.3. The second leading district is Tshwane South at 91.7 in Gauteng. The third leading district is Johannesburg East in Gauteng. The fourth district is Sidibeng East in Gauteng at 90.2. The fifth district is Johannesburg West in Gauteng at 90.1. The sixth district is Thabo Mfutsanyane in Free State at 90%. The seventh district premier is Tshwane North in Gauteng. The eighth is Gauteng West in Gauteng at 89.9. The ninth is Ekurhuleni North in Gauteng. And the 10th leading district is Johannesburg North in Gauteng. So out of the 10 top districts, 8 are from Gauteng. It's not because I'm from Gauteng, but they're from Gauteng. Fellow South Africans, this is an unprecedented that the 10 top performing districts, as I say, are from only 2 provinces. And it is the first time that 4 top districts performing above 85%. And 6 of them have broke the 90% ceiling, gas ceiling. So we want to congratulate the Free State and Gauteng. We think it's remarkable. From the respective provinces, province by province, in the Free State, obviously, the leading district is Fezile Dabi. In Gauteng, the leading district is Tshwane South. In the Western Cape, the leading district is Metro North, as the 3rd district also nationally. The 4th leading district from Northwest is Bujanala Platinum. The leading district in the Northern Cape is Namakwa. The leading district in Mpumalanga is Ehlanzeni. The leading district in KZN is Amajuba. And the leading district in Limpopo is Vembe. And the leading district in the Eastern Cape is Nelson Mandela. Now coming to the performance of provinces. Oh, That's the main As I said earlier, only one province achieved below 70%, which is Limpopo. It achieved 69.4, though it had improved at 3.8, which puts them to be the 9th district. Then the next fourth, they say nine from last, okay. The 4 districts that performed above 40%, Eastern Cape comes 8 at 70.6, with an improvement of 5.6, which is the largest improvement in the country. Okay. Okay, they had the largest improvement. Northern Cape is 7, number 7 at 73.3. It's a decline of 2.3. And I really have full sympathy for Northern. It was a very difficult year, with all those protests and disruptions and kids kept out of class sometimes for periods of 6 months. So KZN achieved 76.2 with an improvement of 3.3. Fine. Mpumalanga at number 5 achieved 79% with an improvement of 4.2. And the 4 provinces that achieved above 80. The obvious, Northwest is not shifting. The usual spot, number 4, Northwest, with 81.1%. Number 3, Western Cape, at 81.5 with a decline of 1.3. The Free State, number 2, at 87.5 with an improvement of 1.4. And finally, the top performing province for 2018 is Gauteng. And so fancy premier. It's Gauteng with an achievement of 87.9 with an improvement of 2.8 from 2017. And as I said, except for Limpopo, short of 0.6%, all our provinces performed above 70%. And indeed, I really believe, Timban, that we should applaud. It's a pity that Umakupula is not here to see the 70%. They're joining the club of the 70%, which includes your Northern Cape, KZN, and Mpumalanga. And as I said, it has the largest performance improvement, with Limpopo and Mpumalanga also experiencing the largest improvement. And clearly, the support that we've given to our learners is evident here. But I must particularly single out the Eastern Cape, because despite the ongoing challenges that the province faces, which are still massive, especially the contestation related to the rationalization of small and unviable schools, under the leadership of MEC Makhuphula, may his dear soul rest in peace, the Eastern Cape has taken off and should continue on this trajectory, because we believe that it is about to reach its cruising height. And I wish to encourage the executive and administrators and leadership of the Eastern Cape, I saw the MEC, to keep the fires burning in memory of MEC Makhuphula, unobliterated, and his unforgettable legacy. But we also wish to congratulate all the other provinces that have performed well, and indeed congratulate the MEC Lisufi and his team for the sterling performance. Which brings us then to the 2018 NC national overall results. For the past 8 years, we have noted a pass rate of above 70%. The class of 2018 must be commended for maintaining this trend. As I said, they are the fourth largest cohort in the history of basic education. And in 2018, our overall pass rate with progress learners, this is good to say, so with progress learners stands at 78.2. We've improved to 3.1%. With 3.1%. And program direct, if we exclude progress learners, excluding them, we'll be at 79.4, 0.6% short of the 80% we've been clamoring for all the years with DM. So without progress learners, we'll be at 79.4%, but we don't regret that. When we further analyze our results, this year only, as a sector, we'll be giving the nation more than 172 bachelor passes. So one in, this is 2.6. 2.6 would have, of the learners that passed, would have passed with a bachelor. 33.6%, which against the highest bachelor passes that we've experienced under this democratic dispensation. The number of diplomas has reached 141,700, which is 27%. And the number of candidates who've passed with higher certificate is 86,800, representing 16.9%. And the total number of candidates who wrote, this one that the 30 to 40%, 129 students, Batu. So I'm told in accounting terms, they would have referred to it as an insignificant. Is it not so? It's materially insignificant. The 129 who pass with 30 to 40, it's 129 them. As compared to 800, it's what you call your immaterial, significant immaterial pass. So we can celebrate with pride that the majority of our learners passed well, and we're happy for that. This year, we have, most of those distinctions came here. We had more than 157,000 distinctions amongst our learners. As what I've presented to you, I believe, and I think we all agree, it points to an unequivocal progress in the basic education sector, in the areas that matter most, mainly in your learning outcomes. But it is, however, important also to understand as best as possible what drove this progress, which will inform our way forward, because we need to be able to synthesize the evidence we have just presented to be able to address the ongoing challenges in the sector and ensure that we continue on our journey to achieve or to continue to improve access, redress, equity, inclusivity, efficiency, and equity. Our path towards quality schooling is definitely bearing the fruits of a silent revolution. A beacon of hope has been brought, particularly to the candidates who are from the no-fee schools, our progress learners, the social grant beneficiaries, and the offenders of correctional service facilities are doing very well. I was told that they have more time, and that's why they're doing it, but they're doing very well all the same, and we're happy for them. And all of them have really made us proud, and all of whom who wrote, clearly the transformative policies of government are bearing fruit. South Africans, we believe that making sure that every young South African receives quality education is an imperative. Yet, we realize that this cannot be brought about overnight. We need to continue having a clear vision where we want to be in 2030, or even before it, if possible. And we must ensure that every year we move a bit closer to our vision of recognizing that a large improvement is actually and accumulatively achieved in the system. But most important, we urge communities. This one I really want people at home to listen. To desist from using their own children as shields when communities engage in service delivery protest. As we close 2018. It is quite shameful in some communities, especially this year, where children were forced out of school in some communities for a period of up to 6 months. Madiba said, education is the greatest engine for personal development. And it is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of a mine, and that a child of a farm worker can become the president. This boy that I met with his mother today, whose mother showed me pictures of her selling tomatoes in the township, has been admitted for medicine at UCT. So I'm really appealing to our communities. Some of them even have an audacity, because some, especially members of the Women's League, have my phone to say, Minister, please note that, speak to your colleague, note that we're going to shut down schools if we don't resolve the chieftainship matter as soon as possible. And because I'm a politician, I have to be always correct, be politically correct. Just say, no, please don't, but deep down I want to say, you know what? Go somewhere, I don't want to mention it. I have TV to say, I know. You can't go on like this. But it happens. And I'm really appealing to South Africans to please, please don't do it. It's your children. And that's the only thing that you can leave them. Don't blackmail whoever by keeping your children away from school and banning schools. It's just very hurtful and very disturbing. So in conclusion, Program Director, as the sector, we are the first to concede that despite the notable stability and the improvements in the system, we are yet to see our own Rubicon. We want to agree that much has been achieved, but much more needs to be done in the areas of efficiency in particular and quality. And that's why one of the reasons we dare and join this international benchmarking test. South Africans like being obsessed. We go there, we're number 45 out of more than 200 countries for a benchmark exercise. We come out number 45. When we compete with first world countries, they say, oh, we're such a hopeless nation, we're always number one. When we went in any case, to benchmark ourselves against the best systems of the world, we're not number 201. Out of 201 nations. In some instances, there were 36 of us. And in Africa, it was only Morocco and Egypt. And the whole country went into depression to say, we pay so much, we came number last again. And we'll continue to go to these benchmark exercises because we learn a lot from them as a country. And we're benchmarking. It's like a marathon runner who comes last is not the slowest in the country. Yeah? If you understand it in that sense, we're not the slowest in the marathon race because we joined the marathon and finished the race. We have a t-shirt. We've done it the whole race, and we're proud that we did the whole race. So as I say, we'll continue to do that. So as we celebrate the class of 2018, I really want to thank our principals, our teachers in particular, our parents and caregivers who continue to support our learners in our schools. I also want to take this opportunity, I see our chairpersons are here, for all the support, the fight, and the difficulties, the laughters and the fights in the oversight committee, but thank you very much for the guidance you always get from yourselves. My partner in crime, but in particular the MECs, we had really a productive 5 years, and I really want to most sincerely and humbly thank colleagues for the hard work that they've put into it. I want to thank the Director General and the officials in the department, but most important, I want to thank our teacher unions who work with us on different programs, our teacher collaboration program. I want to thank the governing bodies that are always there to support fighters, but guide us most of the time, and really make sure that we do the right things, and for that we're eternally grateful. I want to thank also our partners in the private sector. I'll just cite the NECT because it's one of our biggest partners through which we're able to collaborate with different researchers and partners, but we also want to thank other partners who are not necessarily in the NECT, but NECT as the umbrella. We're very grateful for the support that we've been receiving from yourselves. And I really want to thank South Africans who have assisted us in ensuring stability and improvement in the basic education sector. We want to thank Vodacom for hosting us. Okay. Thank you, Vodacom, for hosting us. And also, I want to thank the governing party. Okay. I cannot bear them. Vote. I want to thank them for really having definitely defined education as a priority, but I have to thank MEC, I have to thank DA. At least in the CEM, there was no opposition. We're just in education. And I really want to thank you for really ensuring that we play politics in Parliament, but not in the sector. And thank you very much for all the support and for the good work. Thank you very much.
Ha ha ha.